The queen approaches cautiously, unable to recognize the child fully. The child touches the queen's hand, and she experiences a flash of memories she never knew existed. The queen whispers in disbelief, "Is this my granddaughter?" The daughter explains her journey, how she escaped captivity, fell in love with a human, and raised the child. The child shows strange abilities, telepathy and minor energy manipulation, hinting at mixed heritage. Suspense. A counselor secretly questions if the child could be a threat to the planet. Some alien leaders demand the daughter and human leave immediately. The queen, conflicted but protective, declares that family comes first. The human husband shows bravery, vowing to protect the child and help the queen's people. Suspense. Rumors of a shadowy alien faction plotting to capture the child for experiments. Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The throne room of the alien palace shimmered in soft crystal light, reflecting in every polished surface, turning the hall into a cascade of glowing colors. The air hummed faintly, like a living thing breathing under the walls. The alien queen, tall and regal, sat upon her throne, her long, flowing hair catching the light like strands of silver fire. Her golden eyes scanned the horizon beyond the palace gates, filled with a strange unease she could not shake. Decades had passed since her daughter vanished from this world. She had been stolen, or perhaps she had chosen to leave. No one really knew. All the queen had were memories and the ache of loss. Today, a subtle pulse of energy hit the senses around the palace, an energy she recognized immediately. Her sharp eyes narrowed. "Something is coming," she whispered to herself, almost afraid to speak it aloud. The palace council, composed of the most powerful alien elders, noticed her unease. "Your Majesty," one counselor spoke, bowing low, "the portal readings are unusual. Whoever, or whatever, is coming, it is not a normal visitor." The queen rose from her throne, her movements smooth, controlled, but the tension in her shoulders betrayed her. She approached the balcony overlooking the portal field. There, a sudden shimmer appeared, as if reality itself was bending. A swirl of energy formed a doorway of light and shadow. Then, they came. 3 figures stepped through. First, a human man, tall and muscular, carrying himself with quiet confidence. Next, a female alien, tall, with familiar silver hair and golden eyes that mirrored the queen's own. And finally, a small child, holding the human's hand. The queen froze, her breath caught in her chest. The child's small face looked up at her, curious and innocent, yet there was something in those eyes, a spark, a glow, that made her knees tremble. "No," she whispered, almost inaudibly. The council murmured, "Could it really be her?" One elder said, fear and awe mingling in their tone. The daughter, sensing the tension, stepped forward. She bowed respectfully to the queen, then looked up into her eyes. "Mother," she said softly, "it has been a long time." The queen's voice cracked. You are alive." "Yes, mother, I am alive, and I have returned, with him, and our child." She gestured toward the human man, who stepped forward, bowing his head respectfully. The council gasped. The queen's daughter had married a human, a species considered fragile, unpredictable, and entirely alien to their ways. And she had a child. The queen's gaze fell on the small girl. Her eyes widened in disbelief. This child was part human, part alien. The golden glow in her own eyes reflected in the child's face. "Is this my granddaughter?" she whispered. The daughter nodded. "Yes, her name is Lyra. She is yours, mother." The throne room was silent. Every council member looked between the queen and the child, fear and curiosity etched on their faces. Humans had never been trusted, and the idea that one had entered the royal bloodline was unthinkable. The queen's mind raced. Could she accept this? Could she embrace her daughter and her granddaughter after all these years? And what of the human? Could he be trusted? "Mother," the daughter continued, sensing her hesitation, "I know this is sudden. I know the council may not accept me, or him, but we mean no harm. We only want to be together, as a family." The queen's gaze softened, but a shadow of worry lingered. She stepped closer, her eyes locked on the child. Lyra reached out with small, trembling hands and touched the queen's palm. In that instant, the queen felt something she could not explain, a rush of memories, emotions, and visions. Images of her daughter as a child, laughter she had almost forgotten, moments that could not have been hers. The child was different, special, powerful in ways she could not yet understand. The council stirred uneasily. "Majesty, is that The queen shook her head. She could not speak. Her mind was filled with images of the past, tangled with the present. Lyra looked up at her and smiled, unaware of the storm she had already unleashed. Finally, the queen found her voice. I need answers. All of them. The daughter nodded. I will tell you everything. But first, you must promise to hear me out, without judgment. The queen turned to her council. Stay silent. I will handle this. The council exchanged uneasy glances but remained quiet. They had seen the queen in moments of conflict before, but never like this. Never when her heart wavered so I sibbly between love and fear. The daughter began to explain. When I disappeared, I was taken by a faction from another world. They sought to study our kind, to exploit it. I escaped with his help. She nodded toward the human, who stood firm, silent, yet radiating a protective strength. We found each other on a distant planet. There, I learned to trust again. There, we fell in love. The queen's eyes softened, but there was still tension. And the child? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. She is our daughter. Half human, half alien, the daughter said. She carries the strength of both worlds, mother. She can do things you cannot imagine. A counselor hissed under his breath. Do you realize what this means? This hybrid could be dangerous. Unstable, unpredictable. The queen's eyes snapped to him. Enough. Her voice was steel, cutting through the tension. She is my granddaughter. That is all I care about. Lyra clung to her mother's hand but peeked curiously at the queen. Slowly, she stepped closer. The queen extended her hand. Lyra placed hers gently in it. The queen felt that strange surge again, a connection that was both familiar and new. Suddenly, the palace alarms rang. Sensors detected unusual energy fluctuations around the child. The council panicked. It's the child. The energy readings. She's activating something. The queen held her ground, refusing to step back. Quiet, she commanded. Do not touch her. She is mine to see, mine to understand. The child looked up at her, sensing the tension. She did not understand her own power, only that it made the queen afraid, and yet, it felt right. For a long moment, the room was silent, the only sound the faint hum of the palace itself. The queen's mind raced. Could she accept a human into her family? Could she trust that this child, so powerful and alien, would not be a threat? Her heart whispered yes, even as her mind warned no. Finally, she spoke, her voice trembling but firm. Mother, forgive me, the daughter said softly, I know this is not easy. I only wanted our family to be together. The queen swallowed hard, stepping closer to her daughter and granddaughter. You have returned, she said. And I must see all that you have become. All of you. The council exchanged wary glances, uncertain what the queen would decide. But for the queen, there was only one thought. Her family, long lost, was finally here. As the portal shimmered behind them, fading slowly, the queen realized that the world she knew would never be the same. This child, part human, part alien, would change everything. And yet, she felt hope. For the first time in decades, she smiled. But deep in the shadows of the palace, some council members whispered. We cannot let this continue. The humor, influence, it is dangerous. The queen turned to face them, her eyes glowing. Anyone who threatens my family will face me. That is all you need to know. The child, Lyra, looked up at the queen and giggled softly. The sound was light, innocent, yet filled with a strange power that resonated through the palace walls. The queen's heart ached and soared all at once. This was her granddaughter, this was her daughter, and somehow, this human stood beside them, brave and unwavering. Is this really my granddaughter? The queen whispered again, barely audible. Yes, mother, the daughter said. And she is strong, stronger than you can imagine. The queen held the child's hand a little tighter. The council still murmured uneasily, the tension palpable. But for now, the queen knew one truth above all. Her family had returned, and nothing, not even the universe, could take them from her again. The palace lights shimmered brighter that night, as if celebrating the reunion. Outside, the stars blinked, silent witnesses to a family restored against all odds. But somewhere, hidden in the darkness, plans were already forming. The human influence could not go unnoticed forever, and the queen's family would soon face challenges that even her unmatched power might struggle to overcome. Yet, in that moment, none of that mattered. She had her daughter, and she had her granddaughter. And somehow, that was enough. The palace was quiet now, but the tension lingered like a shadow across every hall. The alien queen had spent hours staring at her granddaughter, Lyra, trying to understand the strange power that pulsed faintly in the child's veins. She was unlike any other being she had ever known, part human, part alien, and yet wholly extraordinary. Her daughter stood nearby, her hand lightly brushing the child's hair. The human husband remained calm, silent, but his eyes held a protective intensity. He knew, as the queen knew, that this child could change the balance of their world. "Mother," the daughter said softly, breaking the quiet, "I know you have questions. I will answer them, but first, you must promise to listen without anger or fear." The queen's golden eyes softened, but a shadow of caution remained. "I will listen. Speak." The daughter began her story. "When I disappeared, I was captured by a faction from another planet. They wanted to study us, our abilities, our biology. They saw my potential, my connection to the royal line. I escaped, but I had to leave everything behind. Then, on a distant human world, I met him." She looked at her husband. "We learned to trust each other. We fell in love, and together, we had Lyra." Lyra stepped forward, her small hands brushing her mother's. "I can do things," she said shyly. "I can hear thoughts sometimes. And I can feel energy, but I don't always know what it means." The queen knelt to meet her granddaughter's gaze. Lyra's eyes shone with a golden glow, a mix of human curiosity and alien power. "Child," the queen said, "you carry a gift, one that can be both wonderful and dangerous. We must learn it together." Some council members were already uneasy. Whispers grew louder. "This hybrid is unpredictable," one said. "She could be a threat to the entire planet." The queen's voice cut through the murmurs like steel. "She is my granddaughter. She will not be harmed while I am here. Your fear is yours. Mine is family." Yet, even as the queen spoke, shadows began moving in the outer halls of the palace. Observers in the hidden corridors reported a strange presence, an alien faction that had been tracking the queen's daughter for years. They wanted the child for themselves, to study and control her powers. The human husband stepped forward, his muscles tense, his stance protective. "I will not let them take her," he said quietly. "No matter what it takes." The queen nodded. "Then we prepare." Hours later, the palace was alive with activity. Alien guards checked every corridor, energy barriers hummed across the gates, and counselors debated strategies to protect the child. Lyra, curious and excited, wandered the halls, touching walls and floors with small hands, leaving faint ripples of energy in her wake. "Lyra," her mother said, "do not wander. You do not yet understand the power you carry." "I'm not afraid, Mama," the child replied. "I want to help." The queen watched silently, her heart both swelling with pride and tightening with worry. This child, she could sense, was destined for something greater than any of them had imagined. But destiny, she knew, often came with danger. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the palace. Red lights flashed, and a deep, low hum echoed in every hall. The shadow faction had arrived. "They are here," a guard shouted. "They are trying to breach the palace." The queen rose from her throne, her staff glowing with energy. "Protect the child. Protect my family." The daughter stood beside her, ready to use her own powers. The human husband moved to shield Lyra. Together, they formed a small but formidable line against the intruders. The first wave of shadow soldiers burst into the hall. Sleek, dark-armored beings with energy weapons aimed at Lyra. The child's eyes widened, fear mixing with instinct. She reached out with her tiny hands, and a wave of energy radiated from her, throwing several attackers back. The queen's heart leapt. "She's stronger than I imagined." The daughter moved forward, weaving energy shields and strikes, pushing back the invaders. The human husband fought with clever, calculated movements, using technology and strategy learned from a world alien to the palace. Together, they held the intruders at bay. Yet, the shadow faction was relentless. More came, faster, their weapons capable of piercing the palace's outer defenses. Lyra's small hands trembled as her powers surged. Suddenly, she screamed, and a burst of golden energy exploded outward, knocking every intruder to the ground. The hall was silent. Dust floated in the air. The queen knelt, staring at her granddaughter in awe. "Child, what have you done?" Lyra blinked, innocent yet proud. "I helped." The daughter ran to her, wrapping her arms around the small girl. "You did more than help," she whispered. "You saved us all." The queen's eyes glistened with tears. For decades, she had feared loss, feared danger, feared the unknown. Yet here, in this moment, she realized that her granddaughter was not a threat, she was hope incarnate. After the attack, the palace slowly returned to calm. Guards patrolled the halls, barriers remained active, and counselors whispered anxiously about the child's powers. But the queen stood tall, a beacon of authority. "This family is mine," she declared. "And no one will harm them." The daughter and her human husband stood together with Lyra, forming a triangle of love and strength. For the first time, they felt safe, though the queen knew danger was never far. Night fell over the alien world, painting the sky in brilliant swirls of blue and violet. The family stood on the observation balcony, looking out over the vast landscape of their planet. Lyra held the queen's hand tightly, feeling the warmth and strength of someone who loved her unconditionally. "Mother," the daughter said softly, "I know this is not easy for you. You must accept him, and Lyra, as family." The queen looked at the human husband, who met her gaze with quiet determination. Then she turned to Lyra, the small girl who had changed everything in her life. She knelt, her hand resting gently on the child's shoulder. "Yes," she said finally. "I accept you all. You are my family, and I will protect you with everything I have." Lyra giggled, the sound pure and bright, filling the palace with an energy that seemed to echo off the walls. The daughter smiled, relief and gratitude in her eyes. And the human husband bowed slightly, acknowledging the queen's acceptance with quiet respect. But even in this moment of peace, the queen's mind remained alert. The shadow faction had retreated, for now, but she knew they would return. The child's powers were too valuable, too unique to be ignored. Yet, she did not dwell on fear. Not now, not while her family was together. She had lost so much before, but now, she had everything. The next morning, the palace was alive again, but with a different end. Lyra explored her new home, carefully testing her powers under her mother's watchful eye. The queen observed from a distance, marveling at the child's abilities and at the resilience of her daughter and human son-in-law. They trained, laughed, and shared stories, slowly building bonds that would withstand any threat. Lyra's powers grew, guided by the queen's wisdom and her parents' love. And the human, once an outsider, became an indispensable member of the family, proving that courage, loyalty, and love were universal, across any species. Yet in the shadows, the remnants of the shadow faction watched, plotting their next move. They would not forget the child, and they would not give up. But the queen did not fear them. She had her family, her granddaughter, and her daughter, all together, united. And that, she knew, was stronger than any weapon or plot. In the heart of the palace, under the glow of alien stars, the family stood side by side, ready to face whatever came next. Lyra's golden eyes sparkled with curiosity and power, a living testament to the bond between human and alien. The queen smiled, a mixture of pride and awe filling her heart. "Your world is changing," she whispered to Lyra. "And you, my granddaughter, are at the center of it all." Lyra giggled again, wrapping her small arms around the queen's neck. "I'll be brave, Grandma," she said. The queen held her tightly, feeling the weight of the past, the hope of the future, and the love of a family reunited. Outside, the first rays of the alien sun broke through the sky, casting brilliant colors across the palace. Shadows still lurked, but light had returned. And for this family, it was only the beginning of a new story, a story of courage, love, and the unbreakable bond between worlds. End.